Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to Adobe Live. How's it going, everybody? I see so many familiar faces filing into the chat already. I see Chris, I see Sam Peterson, the one and only, Calvin, Mercurial, is that Calixta or Callista? Ashley, Colby Kleitz, RB, welcome in all of you folks back to episode 2 of the Adobe Live Design Off. My name is Voodoo Val. I'm going to be host and artist for this segment here on Adobe Live. And I'm joined yet again by my friend Jessica. Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm ready
Excited to
to
jump
art.
into it? Yeah, me too. For those of you who may be over on the YouTube channel right now, if you're wondering who the heck I'm greeting because you don't see any of these people in the chat, we are reading the chat over on behance.net/live. So please pop on over because that is where we're gonna be having the party. The party is over here, as the cool kids say. I think that's what the cool Sam Peterson. You can tell me if that's what the cool kids say. He's always my definitive bar there for if I'm being trendy enough. Thank you. Um, yeah, so the party's over here, and it's also where you can find any helpful links and resources and things that we may talk about during the show. So if you're looking for those, anything that we're talking about and posting on the chat and you're not seeing them, you'll definitely need to come over here. And for those of you who weren't here yesterday and don't know what the design off is, basically Jessica and I have been working doing illustrations according to like a creature character theme. So this is day 2. We're going to be continuing our projects that we started yesterday. We're doing some creepy like anthropomorphic monsters, I would say, is kind of a cool way to describe it. But before we jump into kind of finishing up our projects and doing some painting and stuff, why don't you, Jessica, real quick, tell everybody a little bit about you and maybe where they can find your work online, just in case there's any new and unfamiliar folks in the chat with us today.
Yep, yep. So I'm an illustrator and I'm based in California, and I am a co-founder of our studio, Lonely Egg Studio. And you can find most of my work through my Twitter, which is Anireal, Anireal, and it has like links to my Patreon, the studio, my Instagram, and yeah, you can find everything there.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm Voodoo Val on everything. If you can't find me as Voodoo_Val, you can find me as Voodoo_Val. If you guys want to check out any of my weird monsters and the juxtaposition of all of my adorable um, kid illustrations for Animal Crossing, because that's what you get over there. Animal Crossing and Monster Boys. That's basically it. But yeah, I'm gonna jump over here to our dual screen so that everyone can see our work, and maybe we can kind of do a little preview here of what we got going. I did put a little bit of work into mine in between the streams, just because I knew I probably wasn't going to get to painting small details since we have a little less time today, as we will be doing an artist spotlight for all of you participating in the design off. So I just got like some weird like crab leg things like kind of coming off of this character, and he's got some really just uncool muscles going on. Like, they're weird. They don't I don't know that they make any sense, but I'm gonna try and make them make sense. And I've got his little hat on, and I've given him some black leather chaps because obviously this is a guy that would wear black leather chaps. And what do you got going on, Jessica?
So I'm doing this owl tendril creature. I'm gonna have um, the tendrils be like amidst these huge dead dying kind of leaves,
Mm-hmm.
and in the thing that it is worshiping there's going to be a little bit of life, little green plant growing in there.
Oh, I love it.
um
That's such a
yeah.
nice touch. Oh, that's so cool. I feel like in a lot of your art you have a lot of really like, because I mean you could have just painted the creature, but you gave it a purpose, which I really admire about your stuff, is that like all of your paintings, they have great colors and cool creatures which on their own can make for a very impressive piece of work, but you always like really tell a story with your illustrations, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I like little moments like that, like including, like if you were to look at the whole picture, it's you know, it's its own thing. It can stand on its own. But like
Yeah.
if you like zoomed in on here, there's a little moment, and
Little
then, you know,
Easter egg.
somewhere else there's a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. I think something that I need to work on in myself is like adding little moments and things like that in my own paintings because I'm so used to doing portraits where it's very straightforward. A portrait's a portrait. You can do like more interesting portraits, you know, but I think
Mhm.
I came to a point a while back which I'm trying to break out of, which is something that a lot of artists, maybe you have felt this way, or maybe there's people in chat that felt this way, where like you kind of plateau in a way where you haven't really broken out of your comfort zone recently and everything is a little easier to do because you're so familiar with it, but it's starting to get a little stale. That's kind of how I feel. So I'm working on that and then adding maybe a little more movement to my pieces, but I think I'm gonna have to do like some studies for that. Also, we got Chad Rolfs in the chat. Oh my God, what is going on here? This is amazing. I'm glad you're digging it. I think that means we're off to a great start, Jessica. We're
Good,
wowing
good.
the crowd. Yes, we are wowing. Um, Thank you, Sam, for posting helpful links and stuff. I really appreciate it. Speaking of helpful links and great resources, one of the conversation topics that we were both kind of going over before the broadcast started, which I thought would be kind of a good way to start us off for the day, is talking about artistic health and things that can help us all to be a little more healthy in our day while we are creating art. I think that being an artist is not really a job that a lot of people assume can be very physically strenuous,
Mm.
but it really truly is. I learned the hard way that creating art every day and sitting at the desk every day can really be damaging if I don't take care of myself properly. And so, a couple of the things that I actually use on a daily basis now, just to keep myself healthy and just kind of prolong, I guess, the use of my arms and hands, so they don't go out before their time, is I have a. I'm actually going to show it. I've got an image here for you. On Amazon, I got this swiveling arm thing for my desk, which I'm just gonna pull this down here.
Which
Um,
sounds very good.
it's so cool. It's like this little arm that just clips onto your desk. And as you can see, if I bump this up, you can see like kind of an example of this woman that is using it. And I had a lot this year of like arm pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, because all of you folks, when you're creating, you may not realize that your posture and where you're resting your arms and hands really goes into your body health as a whole. If you are leaning improperly or you're sitting with bad posture, that goes up your arms, into your shoulder, into your neck,
Mm.
into your back, into your hips, and can cause a lot of health problems. But I got this thing. And it allows me to circle my arm around. I use it for my left hand because that's like my hotkey arm. So I can circle around if I want. I can move my arm into a position above my lap if I want to. I could even, with this thing, I don't know why I'd want to, but if I felt like it, I could even swivel around and put my arm behind my back with this. Like, it's crazy. I do have like an L-shaped desk, so it is attached to my desk on the side. Maybe you can't do that if you just have a like a forward desk. But very, very useful. I found that on Amazon. My sister brought it to my attention, and it's been kind of a lifesaver. So if you guys are looking for, you know, some interesting things that you can get for your desk, like little helpful peripherals, that's a great one for just like my posture and how I'm leaning. And then I also have a little like lap heating blanket because I frequently sit down to paint. And I was telling Jessica, if my hands are very, very cold, or if I'm just very cold in general, especially now because we're in the middle of December. I don't paint very well. I have to go get like a cup of tea or something to heat up my hands. But lately I have been like just coming into, my workspace and um, turning on my little heating lap blanket, and it has been a joy. So that's how I try to stay a little healthier at my workspace, aside from, drinking water and exercising my arms and my hands and things, and also messing with the settings of brightness on your screen, because sometimes you can really give yourself a headache if you paint for much too long in a day staring at a bright screen.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So those are some of the little points that I have. What about you, Jessica? Do you have any advice or cool little doodads that you use for general artistic health?
I do. I have compression gloves on, and they just kind of help to keep the like muscles and bones and tendons kind of in a stiffer position so that they aren't like so I don't bend my wrist as much when I'm drawing on the tablet. Um, or like crunching my fingers up,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
yeah, we were talking about getting club hands earlier.
Yeah, man, I did it. I've said before, I painted until my hand was a claw before. Don't ever do that. Don't push yourself through a project and paint until you have club hand, but it's very real.
Yep, yep. And I also have a standing desk, so I can move it to be working at it standing or sitting. Um, I noticed when I'm sitting, for some reason, like I'm sure other people get this too, like when you're super hyper focused on something
Hmm.
for hours and then you stop, you realize how much of your body you'd been tensing up.
Yeah.
Like oh man, I had a work session like maybe last week because I had a deadline, and I got up, and the next day all of my abs and stuff were like in so much pain because I had been
Wow.
like tensed up, like it just yeah, I was like oh my god.
Oh no. Just a little artist ab workout in the wrong way. That's
Yeah.
that's awful.
Yeah, so standing and like sitting and like making sure my body's moving and I can adjust like on the fly has been very helpful.
Nice, nice. I'd also love to know if there's any folks in chat that have any tips and tricks that they use just to be more comfortable in one space while creating that we haven't mentioned. Why don't you throw some ideas in chat? Because I'd love to know what other people do. I also think it would be cool just to for any of you who have been thinking about trying maybe a particular product or something, but you're not sure about making the buy, maybe ask about it in chat as well, because I bet you there's somebody here that has tried certain things out, and maybe you can get kind of a first-hand review of something you're curious about too. um, Jessica says, "Oh my gosh, heated blankets are a savior." Yes, yes, and I'm a cold baby all the time. Like I am like a chihuahua. I shiver in 80-degree weather.
Oh.
It's it's bad. So heating blankets are definitely at the top of my list of must-haves for my workspace. What are those things coming out of the armpit area of Val's drawing? I'm very curious. Jessica, when you figure it out, I would like to know too. They look sort of like crab legs. I just wanted it to be very obvious that like zoomed out it looks like a guy in a cloak, but like when you zoom in it's like not human even a little bit, just human
Yeah,
shaped
I
sort
mean,
of.
doesn't everybody want some rib legs, you know?
Yeah, yes. That actually, so I'm a weird girl, so that sounded cool, but also low key delicious because I love ribs and I would love to know what rib legs taste like. They're kind of, like I said, they're kind of crustacean-esque. They're like kind of giving me like crab vibes too. Um, so I don't know. I'm not sure. But if anyone wants to name them, I'm totally cool with you guys inventing a name for this strange appendage. I'm down. If we want to like get some lore going, some creature lore going in the chat, let's do it. I think it would be a cool idea. This is from Colby. I think it would be a cool idea to get a spin bike desk. I sit and work all day, so I bet I could get like super strong legs if I did that every day. I I think I've seen that before where
Mm-hmm.
somebody had like a something they could move it. It was on like lockable wheels and you could put it under and like use the like do a leg workout and then you could move it over and put your chair back under your desk. That sounds like a cool idea to me. I've never tried it, but if you try it, Cody, let us know. We're gonna need like some Instagram leg muscle pics in the review so that we can see like how powerful you've become and then be more encouraged to like get our own set of He-Man legs by doing the spin under the work desk for sure.
There's so many strange like ways that people have tried to do like ergonomic sitting at desks.
Oh
There's
yeah.
like the what is it? The one where you like sit on your knees. You know what I'm
Really?
talking about? Yeah, there's like a chair specifically where it's like just goes under your butt and and under your knees, and you're like bent, like
Huh.
you're crouching,
Oh, kind of like a massage chair almost. So you're
kind of
not
like
like
that.
sitting
Yeah,
directly on your legs, but it has like
a
that
little.
little almost like a leg compartment kind of.
And I've seen
Yeah.
people like have almost like Zumba like sitting situations where they've got like this thing that they're exercising on at the same time they're working.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's cool. I sometimes when I am like moderating in the chat here on Adobe Live or if I'm working in Fresco on my iPad or something, I will actually go sit at my coffee table and I have a yoga block. And I sit on the yoga block with my feet my legs not like cross-legged but like kind of in a butterfly pose
Mm,
and I'll stretch my legs and stuff under my desk or under the table because that feels pretty great. But I think the general rule is like if you are because not everybody can like afford to go out and get like these interesting peripherals and stuff, but just like
yeah,
rule of thumb when you folks are sitting, the general rule I think for good sitting health is that you don't want your chair high enough that your feet are not flat on the ground when you're sitting because you pinch nerves
yep,
and things
yep.
when you do that. So if your chair is very very high, my chair is very high. However, another thing that I have is I have a footstool underneath my desk because I want to be up a certain height above the surface of my workspace, but I don't want to have the leg injury and at first it didn't really matter to me. um I just was like yeah whatever until I started actually feeling it and then I was like, oh, this is a bad thing that I'm doing to my body. I should I should get footstool because I don't like kneeling chairs is what Sam says. They're called kneeling chairs. Gotcha. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And Ashley says, my hands are always cold. I have no idea why. I want to get these special gloves on Amazon for people with cold hands that draw. I don't know what it's called. That sounds amazing. Little like hand warmer gloves so you can continue to work. Ooh, that sounds great.
The like getting a lumbar support too. I have a
mm,
pillow as my lumbar support, and then what else? Oh, making sure your legs are like propped up on something. I have something underneath my desk that
yeah,
I use.
yeah,
You
good,
do not
good
want
example.
that thing that happens to your legs where like
The
the blood
varicose
vessels.
veins.
Yep,
Yep,
that. Oh,
yep.
oh.
Yeah. You know
Freaks
what?
me out.
It is kind of a freaky thing, but I got the beginnings of a varicose vein because
Hell no.
I know it's bad and I'll tell you what, guys. Um I know that we don't spend a lot of time like looking at the backs of our legs, like our own legs, but take a peek one day if you have been sitting improperly and just like take stock of your own physical health and take a look because I think I was surprised. I was like, oh no, I'm really not practicing good workspace health, and that's kind of what made me make the jump and do something differently. But don't wait till it's too late because it's very real. And I think that a lot of people maybe don't take that stuff seriously because I don't know about you, Jessica, or you, chat, but for a long time, I think because there are certain stereotypes that accompany like doing art for a living, I didn't take my own health seriously because it
Mhm.
felt like such a joke, like because people are always not all the time, it's not, everybody, but because we sit down all the time and we're drawing pictures, quote unquote, all day, and it's like
Yep.
that's not really strenuous. It's not like you work a construction job, har har har. And so because that was the general consensus, at least among a lot of people I knew for a time, I felt like I feel like I let myself suffer because the seriousness of the matter was not there in the culture of my day-to-day life at the time. Um,
Right.
but don't let it happen to you, because it's very real. And I think too, that practicing better workspace health actually really helped improve the quality of my work, because you really, until you take the time to do it, you really never know just what a positive impact taking care of your workspace and taking care of yourself can really have until you do it. It's a very real thing. Let's see, I'm gonna kind of go through chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. Less specific, this is from Sam Peterson, but I always try to make a point to get plenty of sleep and keep at least a minimal workout routine, which makes all the difference in my mood and energy. That is a great point. I can tell you folks right now that this idea of powering through a project is
Nope.
so detrimental to your health. And I mean, I understand needing to make a deadline and being desperate to finish a job, especially this year, because 2020 has been very rough for a lot of us. However, if you have the choice between painting all night and not sleeping at all, and painting for a set amount of hours, going to sleep at a reasonable time, and waking up early, do the latter, because um, sometimes that, even if you can only afford to get, 4 hours of sleep, coming back to your project with a clear head the next day and working on it, it can sometimes turn, at least for me, it's turned an 8 hour project into more of like a 4 or 5 hour project, because my mind was rested. And when I came back to my work, I could formulate like clear, courses of action to solve problems in my project. So highly recommend getting good sleep and taking breaks and rest as needed. Definitely. Good point, Sam. All right. I've added so many new little crab legs like in the darkness of this piece, and I just feel like he looks super cool, but I feel like there's a lot of creatures wherever he's from that are just horrified of him, because there's a lot of these now. There was like 5 before, and now there's like 12 of them. And I don't even know where they're coming from, to be perfectly honest. They're just here. Um but that's the thing about it being my painting, is that I'm the master of this realm, and if I want 12 weird armpit legs, I can have them.
And by God, you will have it.
Yeah, by God, I will have these strange crab armpit appendages if it's the last thing I do. Alright, got like kind of his hip bones in here. I think too, if I had, because these projects go pretty fast for these shows, if I had more time, I might spend a lot more time being more specific about the anatomy. But I do kind of want to get as much done as I can. Which reminds me, we will be designing for slightly less time today, only because, for those of you who don't know, we will be pulling up Twitter today and checking out the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, which is right below my webcam here. To look and see if any of you folks have posted any work. So we're doing like creatures and characters, but if you folks are designing something even unrelated, that, it's just like your project that you've had up while you're watching the stream and hanging out with us, please tweet us what you're working on, because I want to pull up social media, and I want to give you folks a shout out, say thank you for participating, and let everyone know where they can follow you and find your work as well. So definitely do that. Probably around the last 10 minutes, we'll be doing that, and I'm super excited to see what you guys came up with. Let's see. Ashley Hampton is saying, if you're not able to get enough sleep, try meditation before you go finish your painting. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah, meditation is really good.
Yeah. Even just like, I've never been able to like clear my mind, like they say sometimes, but even just like I take a moment to myself, have a cup of tea, and just calm myself before I go back, take a break and a breather, at the very least, is a pretty good idea. All right, let's getting like some color, or not color, some values, I should say, into his cloak now, because I think I'm gonna leave his tummy alone. He's ripped, and that's all I can give him. Otherwise, I think it's just overkill at this point.
Never overkill.
Oh, sorry,
More
go ahead.
legs, more muscles. No.
More strange body parts. Go for it. Get some eyeballs in there. This is your world. I have to say, like, I love so much about your current piece, but one of the things that is just like really speaking to me is the big owl hands, the
Yeah.
way that those like taloned fingers are, how they're all like in different positions and they just fit so well, like anatomically, even though it's like none of it really is anatomically correct, but you've broken the rules so well that it just looks like, yeah, this is a real thing. This is how it goes. I love it. Like I can see them in my mind's eye, like moving, you know? And it's just super cool. I love it.
Oh, thanks.
You're
Yeah, I
welcome.
sometimes you just like put ideas down and they don't necessarily have to make a ton of sense because you can always make sense of it later.
Yeah.
But if I forget to put something down, it's gone.
Yep.
I, I won't
Yep.
remember to sketch that thing later.
I used to do this thing when I would stream on Twitch a lot, and that is like I would be streaming for like 6 hours, 7 hours sometimes, and I would like go to work on my project, and I would get so tired because I was not practicing proper artistic health. I get so tired that I would like end the stream, go directly to bed, get up in the morning, and start all over again. And I noticed that I would do that. I would like be obviously like the night before I was on to something, and then I wake up in the morning and I like could not for the life of me like remember what exactly I had planned to do. And one of the things that used to help me remember things is at the end of the streaming day. I'll show you a little example. At the end of my streaming day, I'd go grab like a neon color that's like completely unrelated to my project, and I'd come in and I'd like right here, I know I want to work on the eye. So I'd like circle that in like neon green, or I'd know like maybe I want to add more muscle definition here, so I'd come in and I'd like draw these lines to remind myself that I want to put in little muscle lines there, or maybe I want to add like tassels to the side of his chaps. So I'd come in and just like do these little sketch marks to remind myself. And because I did the lines, while I was thinking deliberately of things that I want to add, when I open up my project the next day, I'm like, what are these marks? And I'm like, oh yeah, the things I wanted to do. That's a good idea, Val. Look at you. Look how smart you are. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. I kind of miss streaming on Twitch. Um, me and Jessica actually streamed on Twitch together once. That was a long time ago, but I remember that being like so much fun. I remember specifically, I think when we were preparing to do that show, we were like, so how do we promote this stream, like, do you want to make a promo graphic? Should I make a promo graphic? And I think
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes we were both like trying not to say, I don't know how to make a promo graphic. Do you want to just do it? And then finally we're just like, okay, this is what we have. We're just gonna use this. And then we did it. And then we put on a show. It was fun. And it really wasn't that big a deal, but we were kind of just like, how do how do we make this happen?
Oh, it was fun.
It was.
Figuring out like a process that works for what we needed.
Yeah, for a little dual stream, it was cool. It was like one of the first times that I'd ever done that. Like I kind of some folks might remember we had like a Twitch channel for Adobe back in the day, and one of the things that I got to do on there was kind of be like the in-between bridge, I guess, for people who had not been streaming with Adobe but were going to become like part of the streaming team, and I got to do like a dual stream with them to like kind of introduce them to the process of streaming on the channel. Really really fun job to be able to do. Kind of a dream come true. And I think like once I started doing that, I was like, oh okay, so because I kind of got to see the promos that all of the guests would make, with their own branding, and I was like, okay, so that's how people are supposed to do this. That's how
Mhm.
it's done. And like learned a little bit from just like watching examples. And that was a pretty cool thing. Now I can make all the promos I want, but back then I was terrified. What would you say, Jessica, is like one of the scarier things that you've had to overcome in your career? Like, and it could be artistic wise, that could be, um, you know, like doing something in a professional manner, maybe like more of the technical aspects or just figuring stuff out. Like, does anything come to mind for you?
Yeah, I think like uh not being exposed to certain things about like the industry that can seem really intimidating.
Mm,
Like legalese always intimidated me. I always
mm,
felt like if you're working for somebody or like that you working for a company that all of a sudden they're an authority above you,
mm-hmm,
and it was really hard to like speak up for myself or
mm.
feel like I had confidence in my work to not disappoint, the other party.
Yeah,
That was something that took a long time for me to like overcome. Um,
nice. And you've had a lot of experiences in different aspects of like the creative world because you have worked with other companies and studios. You started your own company studio, and you've also done freelance work, I believe, correct?
mhm.
So you kind of have like a lot of perspective kind of all across the board, whereas I'm predominantly freelance work.
Oh god, as you listed that, I was having like flashback PTSD.
And you're just like, oh no, no,
Ah!
ah! Like everything passing before your eyes, like, no, not again, no.
Yeah, I think like that's the hard. This is just like uh, like my personal issue is telling myself like, yes, you are worth it. The things you make are good. Like that is not a inner voice or message that I don't know that I ever told myself until probably like within the last couple of years. But
Mm,
like I really believe that.
yeah.
Um,
No, I
so
get it.
yeah.
That's a hard thing. It's a very, very hard thing to, especially, these days with like how connected we are all over the world via the internet. And I think that while the communication and how connected we are to other people is a really great thing, it can also be very nerve wracking because not only are we struggling with our own like creative, artistic voice and identity, but we are also every single day just like hit with a wave of other creative work that can sometimes very often make you feel like, why do I even bother? And even if you're not like thinking that specifically, it's funny how you can be inadvertently discouraged by being exposed to so much other noise. Um,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? I'm gonna switch our little thing because I think I lost your webcam for a second there. Let
Oh,
me bump
yeah, hold
this.
on. Let
Just
me
kind of froze for a second there.
let me grab it.
Yeah, if you think you might have a fix, I'll let you fix it. Otherwise, I could try and refresh.
Let me try one more time here.
Oh, there we go. I think you're getting it.
Uh,
It might just need to be toggled on and off.
well, let me switch scenes really quick
All right.
and come back here. There
Oh,
we
there
go.
we go.
Okay.
Perfect. But yeah, I think it's very easy to get discouraged when you're kind of subject to like so much external information. And to that point, like because we post our work on the internet and other people are exposed to us too. One of my main things to overcome in my career was like learning how to not only accept creative criticism but also learning how to understand criticism.
Yeah.
Because something that I think we were talking about it in the chat for another segment just yesterday, or earlier this week, and that was that we spend a lot of time kind of pouring our hearts into our work, and then when someone gives us creative feedback, even if it's reasonable feedback, because so much of ourselves are in it, it can also sometimes feel like a personal attack, even though it's not intended that way. And then there's also the fact that, like, on the internet, people are very anonymous, and sometimes people use that to their advantage to just be like a lot harsher than is necessary, which can be a little
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. But the way that I learned how to get through constructive feedback and still like find myself at the end of the road, so to speak, was I'm gonna grab like a neon color again here. Um, and I'll do an example for you folks, because it used to be a big deal for me. Like I used to actually get very mad and uncomfortable when people offered me advice because I was so nervous and self-conscious of my art in the first place. If I'd already finished something and posted it, I didn't want to hear about how it could be better because then I'd be embarrassed that I posted something that's potentially unfinished. But I think it's something that you really have to get over, especially if you're posting work online and you want a job working on a team, or you want to freelance and you're going to have to get feedback from your clients. So a lot of times, for example, maybe a bunch of people comment on a post that you've made, and someone says, um, like, the colors are not that great. Maybe they say it's too dark, and maybe they say the character's hair needs to be longer. Um, Maybe that's the feedback they give on your character. And maybe another person says, well, I would have liked to see you do a different character altogether. So, like, the subject matter um, is like not agreeable to them, and they say it's also maybe they don't like the composition. Maybe the composition could have been more interesting, and also it's too dark. And then, like, there's some things are getting lost in translation. And then maybe someone else says, like, this is great, because some people just say, like, this is awesome. But then they also say it's too dark. So what I started learning how to do is look at all of this information that you have been given. And one of the things that's coming up here is it's too dark, it's too dark, it's too dark. All of these things are related. You could even say that maybe the colors here in this first round of uh, feedback is related to the fact that people are saying it's too dark. But all of this stuff, it could be purely like personal opinion. Like the hair. Maybe the hair is just fine, but that person prefers characters with hair a certain way. Maybe the composition is also fine, but that person doesn't prefer what you did. Same with the subject matter is not what they prefer. And then this person has given you a compliment, so take that to heart, even if it's hard to feel that right at
Mm-hmm.
first. But these are all you know, random things in the ether that people have, because sometimes folks don't know how to separate opinion from, you know, the fact of the critique. But you can
Right.
start to, you know, pull things apart and get to these things right here and improve in that way. So that's kind of how I started picking apart criticism online, so that I could actually glean some serious information about my work, and grow without feeling like every single thing someone said they didn't like meant that I should never do that again, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I do it. I hope that helps anyone that's, you know, looking for advice in that aspect. Also, I'm going to check our time real quick. We do have maybe 15 minutes. I can't freaking believe that, before we have to say goodbye. So I'm going to give you folks a final reminder. If you have any sketches or any previews of some work that you're working on alongside us today, even if it's just work that you're doing for another project that you have up while you're checking out the stream, please post it with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, because in about 5 minutes here, I'm going to pull up Twitter, and I'm going to take a look at what you folks share and give you a little shout out. Um, and it does not, I like to stress this every week, it does not have to be finished. It can be a sketch. My work's not finished, you know, and it doesn't matter what, you know, you're doing, or if you're, you know, maybe you're going to put some more work into it later. Just share a sketch and let us raise you up a little bit. Let us give you some
Yeah.
kudos. Because that's sometimes that's what you need in the middle of a project, right, Jessica? It's just someone to be like, hey, good for you. And you're like,
Yes.
you know what, I think I'll finish it. Thanks. So yeah, I'm gonna actually pull up the hashtag here just so I can keep an eye on it. And I will let you guys know if we get any submissions. Also, please, you have to use that hashtag when you post, because if you just tag me in it, I'm not going to pull up my personal notifications. I'm only going to be using the thread for the hashtag.
Let us see your monsters.
Let us see them. I'm like partial to like thinking that monsters are very cute and wonderful babies. So it doesn't matter how terrifying it is, as long as it's like, you know, relatively family friendly, because I can't show butts on the stream. I can, you know, pull it up and tell you how much I love it. That's what I really would like to do. So, did Jessica get to attend this year's Adobe Max? If so, might she recommend something to watch? Did you check out Adobe Max this year
I
by
did
chance?
not. I did not.
Well, I highly recommend it, because it was, for the first time, Adobe Max was totally free, and you could just watch it online and check everything out. So it's been really cool, like kind of seeing all the new sneaks and things within Photoshop, and just watching some pretty cool creatives create, and kind of show off their process. So yeah, if you get the chance, definitely
I
check it out.
definitely will. I'm always looking for more stuff to watch.
Yeah, you need stuff like on while you're working sometimes, right? I
Yep.
have to pull it up. Yep. I don't have Twitter. Mind if I post a link here in the chat? Sure. Sure. Normally I would, or I mean, it would actually be easier if you posted it to your Behance. Because then I can just click your name and go to your Behance, and then it's like because Behance is obviously an accepted link for folks to share during the broadcast, so that would be great. Just let us know in the chat when you do that. Oh, I see one that came through from Chad Rolfe, so we got an illustration in now. I'm so excited. I'll give you guys, let's see. I'll give you guys another few minutes just to get it, because I know that some people might like be putting some final touches on it. And another thing too is if you end up posting your work late, I will show it like the next time we stream too, because that's happened before where people got it in like right after I went offline, and I do try to to go back and show previous work. I think we got all of them for the last time this time, but fear not, if you don't post it in time, we will still get to give you a little shout out. All right, I think I am going to go ahead and do like maybe a gradient
I'm
map.
gonna just duplicate here. Merge all that.
Nice.
Last thing here.
I literally just did that. I grouped everything, duplicated it, and then flattened the second group. We are mind twinning right now, and I'm living for it. All right, let's see. Oh, you know what I want to do? Wait a second, I know what I want to do, because let me grab, I'm gonna like lasso. I could mask this, but you know how it goes when you're doing something in Photoshop and you're trying to do it quickly. Sometimes you just do the thing that you're most familiar with doing, even though it might not be like the most accurate way, because you're just like trying to get it done. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just like lassoing around the shape of this character. And I think I'm going to take, like, I have this big texture brush that I made. It's like a noisy palette brush. And I am going
Noise it
to,
up.
yes, I'm gonna noise it up. Noise it up. Get loud. I'm going to kind of give him like a reddish background around him, just because I really like that vibe. Like, have you seen like a lot of like kind of anime illustrations where it's like a sketch, but then there's just like this like super bold, like bright color in the back that for whatever reason makes it look so awesome and like finished, but it's not finished at all. It's like it's like not, it's like a trick. I don't know. I don't know how people do it, but I started doing it recently and I'm like, "Oh wow, look at me. Didn't finish this painting at all, and doesn't it look done?" Doesn't it look finished? All right, here we go. Let me grab my brush, grab my noise brush. There we go. And grab a reddish color, and I'm gonna do Control H, by the way. It hides your marching ants selection, but maintains the selection. Like, it takes the little dotted line right off of it, but it still holds, which is pretty cool. So if you guys didn't know how to do that before, now you do. And then after that, I will pull up the hashtag. Okay, I'm also gonna do it down
And then while you
here.
do the spotlight, I'm gonna grab Stella.
Oh
So she can
yes,
say farewell to everybody and look at
doggo
everybody's cute
cam.
art.
Yes.
Amazing art.
Yeah.
All monsters are cute to me.
Yeah, all monsters are adorable, sweet babies to me too. So.
We just recently rewatched The Thing. John Carpenter's The
Ooh,
Thing. It was so
nice,
good. So good.
nice.
Such a classic.
I recently watched a really great horror movie recently. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm actually developing a podcast specifically so I can start reviewing my favorite movies, because I liked this one so much and I just wanted to figure out how I could tell everyone how much I like it. It's called The Girl with All the Gifts. And
I love that movie.
it's probably the most unique and interesting telling of a zombie movie I have ever seen. Like, it's like such a cool, if you could even call them zombies, I don't know, but I highly recommend it. I've been trying to like convert everyone to watching the film and being a fan of it. And I'm just gonna do a podcast and then make everyone love it as much as I do. Okay, so there's my red background. I got that up, and I'm going to quickly pan over and pull up our work so we can check out what everyone's doing. Alrighty. And then also let me know, who is that, Calvin in chat, if you end up posting the your piece to your Behance. And I'm going to switch over to, we have a fancy screen. Ta-da! That just shows our little tiny faces in the corner, and then we have stuff to look at. So this is the Monster Girl from Sukosma, And isn't she lovely and precious? She's awesome. She's got armor on too, which is super awesome. Well done, Sukosma. I really love you. You kind of always participate when you can here, and I really appreciate you. Um, that is at Sukosma on Twitter, so everybody give him a follow. It says art nerd and geek of all things sci-fi, fantasy, etc. I love it. Definitely my kind
Nice.
of people. Jennifer Sable has posted, said this was part of today's DCC, but I worked on it during the Adobe Live design off, and it looks like an illustration of just like these really beautiful, vibrant hills and things, kind of near the like lakeside or oceanside with some nice clouds in the background. It's very, very cool. I'd love to know. Oh, I guess if it's the Photoshop DCC, then you, oh, actually, maybe it's not specifically Photoshop, just the Daily Creative Challenge. So I'd love to know if you did it in Photoshop or Fresco. Um, they're both my loves. I just want to know which one you use, but I love this, so thank you very much for participating. And then we also got this. Chad Rolfe says, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. Adobe Live Design Off creatures and characters. And it is like a vampire hippo. And I'm
That is amazing.
isn't it? Yeah.
That's
I'm
also
down.
terrifying. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, that's like actually kind of a horrifying concept. So I think I think you've done a great job. I love it. I also really love the colors that you chose, and I love that your lines for the line work in this are kind of a reddish brown color that match more with the color motif you have going instead of having like harsh, stark black lines with it. I think it adds that much more oomph to the piece, if oomph is a word. You'll have to let me know, Sam, if that's what the cool kids say. If the cool kids say oomph these days. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do like a quick refresh. Ooh, yeah, we got another monster girl from Sukosma. It's like a sci-fi kind of alien girl with horns and long hair and like a super cool outfit. So thank you very much. Sukosma is um, lighting up this hashtag. I appreciate it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for showing. I see the link in the chat from our friend Calvin, so I'm going to pull that up real quick and take a look at it before we have to take off. In these last few minutes that we have you with us, Jessica, why don't you remind us of where we can all find your work and keep track of your projects and things after the stream is over. Oh yeah, and Doggo Cam.
And Doggo.
Yes,
Doggo's coming over.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so you can find me on most things, ouch, on the username Anireal, Anireal,
Oh no! Hold on, let me
and
full screen real quick. Let me full screen it and then I'll come back to. Yeah, there's the baby! Oh no!
Stella. Do you
Stella's
want a
so
treat?
cute. Oh, yes, she does.
Yeah, so Anireal, and you can find my Patreon, my studio, and my other social media through there.
Awesome.
Stella.
All right, now I'm gonna pop back over here. Oh no, she's so cute. She's so precious. Let me pop over here to the cam. This is the link that was shared by Calvin. Calvin, this is awesome. This is like dragons, like super awesome. Just like flight dragons, and there's like it looks like an ice dragon and like a lava, like a molten dragon, and that is like so totally my thing. You have no idea. I love it. So thank you very much. I'm glad that we got to check out your work as well. Thank you to everyone that participated in our design off, and also thank you as well, Jessica, for joining me. It's been an absolute blast getting to hang out with you again and watch you work and just kind of pick your brain about things. It's been so cool.
Yeah, you too, and thanks everybody for coming and watching us.
Nerd out.
Yeah.
watching us be nerds. You guys stay safe out there, stay positive, continue to create, and I wish you all well, but it is time for us to take off. So much love, everyone, and we'll see you around. Adios, everybody.